welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where today we've got the third in the series of puzzles themed on Japanese food from Sudoku. So I've done one of these already, Mark's done one of these already. I don't think Maverick's done one, but Maverick is hovering in a helicopter, it seems, over my house today, so I apologise if you can hear that. But this is the third one, and it's called Tobiko or Tobiko. And I think that this is some sort of strange sushi roll, as the first two have been, where the seaweed is on the inside of this one. So you can see that around the grid there's sort of a delineation of a sushi roll, I think. And whatever this is, gunk is in the middle, is some sort of seaweed. Yeah. Well, that's apparently what it is. Anyway, I'll read you the rules of this one in just a second. I don't have many things to tell you today. The first thing is that I want to mention, what was it? Oh yeah, if you're a patron of the channel, check out Looney Tunes, which is our new Patreon reward. It's a lot of fun and very colourful. So that's available on Patreon. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention, oh yeah, we are heading up towards 400,000 subscribers. We are really getting quite close, which is astonishing. If we get there, we're going to make this video where we answer community questions. So please, if you do enjoy the channel, please consider subscribing. We'd be most grateful. And yeah, if you do have a question for us, then you can email it to us at crackingthecryptic@gmail.com or tweet it at us at @crypticcracking, for that is our Twitter handle. Now, let's get on with the rules of this one, and I'll read them to you. Look, I get a given digit today, which is incredibly generous of Pseudonym. Thank you. Normal Sudoku rules apply. In cages, digits must sum to the small clue in the top left corner of the cage. Okay, right. Oh, I see. We've only got 2 cages, and they're entirely within a box, each one, so we don't have to have a rule about digits can't repeat. Grey lines are palindromes and must read the same forwards and backwards. So a palindrome, for those who aren't familiar with it, is a name like Hannah or even Anna. Basically, because if you read Hannah forwards, it says Hannah. If you read it backwards, it also says Hannah. So that's how we have to treat these lines. So whatever this square is, let's make this square a 9. We then instantly know that the other end of the palindrome must also be a 9. Now this digit can't be 1 or 9, but it could be anything else. And then if we read it forwards, it reads 949. If we read it backwards, it also reads 949, and therefore it is a palindrome, and we are good to go. Digits cannot repeat on either main diagonal marked in blue. Okay, so this is standard diagonal rule. So that diagonal there, the negative diagonal, because it would, if you drew it on a graph, it would have a negative gradient. This has to contain all of the digits from 1 to 9 once each, as does the positive diagonal, which is that one. Cells separated by an X must contain digits summing to 10. There are a few of those dotted about, look, so those 2 squares have to sum to 10, etc. Not all X's are given, so there's no negative constraint in this one, which means it would be absolutely fine, for example, for this domino to contain digits that sum to 10. So we're not saying anything about digits or dominoes without X's, we're just saying something positive about digits with X's, i.e. each one of these dominoes must contain digits that sum to 10. Now, do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And I think I'm going to start immediately with these cages, because a 6 cage has got to be 1, 2, 3, and a 7 cage has got to be 1, 2, 4. And that's immediately, look, doing some work with X's now, because we've got to make sure each of these dominoes adds up to 10, and the same on that side, although without a 7, look. Oh, I see. Right, okay, and now... Yeah, okay, so now whatever's in that domino actually gets mirrored on this domino, because this 7, 8, 9 has to reflect itself there because of the palindrome, where it hits an X, which means that's got to be a 1, 2, or a 3. Is it going to be colouring? That's the question. It might be, you know, because I can see this is happening more. In fact, it's happening 4 times around the perimeter. Right, that's immediately a bit suspicious to me, because there are only 4 ways of making 2 digits sum to 10 if you can't repeat a digit, because double 5 isn't available. So, yeah, okay, and each if you actually look at each of these dominoes, we've got 1, 2, 3 dominoes here. And one of these dominoes is going to be 4, 6, which is not appearing in those 3 dominoes. So actually, between them, all 4 versions of 1, 9, 2, 8, 3, 7 and 4, 6 have to appear in these 6 dominoes. And we might be able to colour them in. Because let's just see if we can do this. So this domino is definitely different from purple. And that gets reflected down there. So that's a green domino. Now, I'm wondering what the easiest way to do it is. Is it to highlight this one? I'm not sure. I actually prefer this one. And the reason I prefer this one is I can see that this one is not green or purple. And it feels like it's going to have more of an effect. And the reason this isn't green or purple is because it sees green in its row and it sees purple, look, via the palindrome. So if this was a purple domino, that would be a purple domino and that will break. So this square is a new colour. I'm going to make it orange. So that's orange. Now this one, it would be lovely if I could prove this was... I can, it's easy. Yeah, okay, this is going to be a 4th colour. And why is it a 4th colour? Well, let's go through it. It sees green. Green? Good grief. It sees orange. That's orange, Simon. It sees orange there. Now, via the medium of palindromes, it gets reflected onto this domino here, where it sees green and purple. So this is the 4th colour. So now we've actually coloured. Each colour now represents a different version of 2 digits adding to 10. Yeah, okay, so that's green. And this is green because it sees orange, it sees blue, and it sees purple in its row. So that should be green, I think. And this one should be orange then. Oh, this is lovely. Right, okay, so now orange has to... Now we can actually place the orange domino in box 5 just by Sudoku. It can't go in any of these cells. Now have we got... We had another colour we had 3 of, green. Can we do the same with green? Yes, green has to be here. Now can we do the same with purple? And the answer is... not quite, I don't think. What's the other colour we've got 2 of? Blue. No, so we can't quite do blue and purple yet. Alright, so we can't do that, so we're going to have to do something else. So, what else should we do? Is it tempting? And it probably is, maybe because we know this is a high digit, and that might be important at some point. That's 6, 8 or 9, so that's 1, 2 or 4, and that's 1, 2 or 3. That's a high digit, and that's a low digit. Now these two we don't know, I don't think. Oh, right. Okay, let's do some simple elimination now. Now, if you look at these 2 cells here, these are green and orange. Now, low green and orange make an appearance as low digits in box 6 in the 7 cage. Well, if either of these were 3, they couldn't be in the 7 cage, so they're not 3, which means these are 1 and 2, which means these 2 are 4 and 3, which means we get 7, 7, 3, 6, 6, 4. Which means these 2 we can tidy up a bit. They are orange, so they are not 6s or 4s. These 2 are not 6s or 4s. These 2 aren't 7s. This is not a 7. This is not a 3. I like this so far. It's a bit of a chromatic festival, isn't it? Now, what can we do with all of this newfound knowledge that we have? Can we do anything useful? that is our next challenge. And oh, I see. This central square is a naked single now. I should have seen that immediately. Look, it's got every single colour looking at it. That's rather nice. So that's got to be the digit that's not involved in the sums to 10 of 2 digits. So that's a 5. Okay. I'm not sure if that's very useful. These squares here have got to be 5. Oh, 3, 5 and 7. So this is a 3, 5 or a 7. This is a 3, 5 or 7, but that's not a 5, so that's not a 5. And 3, 7 is purple, so those are purple now. So one of these two is purple, which is not terribly surprising. Now, can we do that all round the grid then? No, I'm not sure. I think I can do it over here. Those have got to be 4, 5 and 6. That can't be 5 because it reflects onto the palindrome. So that's 4 or 6. 4 or 6 is blue. So those become blue. One of these two is blue. So one of these two is blue and one of them is purple. So they are a blue-purple pair. Which... that's useless. That's absolutely useless. Sorry, I don't even know. It's not even worth pencil because everything in this box can only be blue and purple now. Come on, Simon, wake up. Right. So what do we do next? That is the challenge that we are faced with. We should look. I've not got a clue where to look actually. This is a bit embarrassing. Do we know anything about the other palindromes? We know those are the same, so we know one of these is purple. No, I don't think we do really. What about... Oh, those can't be 5s, because why don't we just do Sudoku? Ah, right, now that's interesting. I now get an extra purple and an extra blue. And those two squares, therefore, have got to be the other digit, which is 5. So we do get a bit more stuff done in the grid. Although not really usefully, I don't think. This diagonal is a bit annoying, isn't it? It doesn't seem to resolve itself. Well, we've not got anything useful on it. The given 1, is that doing something for us? Ah, yes, of course. Of course. Right, let's look at the central box. I've been incredibly slow today, and for that, I apologise. But let's take a look at this cell. Now, what is this cell? The answer is I have not got a clue, but I do know that its friend is in this domino. So that means that this square here must be green by Sudoku. So if that's green, and right, and now this is a high green because it's not. This is the low green here, so this must be a high green, and therefore by the palindrome that's a high green, and therefore by Sudoku this is a low green and this is a high green. Oh, this is just gorgeous. So now those are 2 low greens and that's a low green by Sudoku. And that means that this is a 2, because it can't be a 1 because of the given. Wow. There we go. So green contains a 2, I think, which means that high green is an 8. We can do all of these digits. Well, we can do more than this, because now we can fill in 1s into all the oranges. Boom, boom. Yeah, and I can repeat this logic, which I did with green, with this square. This square must make an appearance there. In box 8, which means it gets reflected onto the palindrome there. So these both orange and they're not 1, so they're both 9. Oh, yes, in fact that one is 9 because of then by Sudoku. That's where we started the logic. So that becomes a 1. That becomes a 1. All of these squares turn orange. I was about to say it's getting... Oh, it is. No, it is exciting, because our 2 purples in box 8 are in those 3 squares, in these 2 squares in box 2, so these 2 are purple. And these 2, therefore, by elimination, are blue. Right, okay. Good. 1 is in one of those squares by Sudoku, just using the givens. These squares here are 4, 5 and 6. These squares are going to be something else, 3, 5 and 7. 4, 5 and 6, 3, 5 and 7. Is it the diagonals now? Is that where we... Oh, 8s maybe? No. 9s over here. I don't think that's going to work, because I think the logic is very, very symmetrical. So if we try 8s up here and it doesn't work, it's unlikely to work when we try 9s down here, unless there's something breaking the symmetry, which there doesn't seem to be. Golly, okay, so what on earth do we look at now? Yeah, got it, okay. 9's on this diagonal, look. And the way I got that was noticing the 9 is not on the diagonal in box 9, and I can see it's not on the diagonal in box 5, so it is on the diagonal in box 1, and by Sudoku it's not there. So this is a 9, and therefore it deserves to be christened with orange. Now that's going to be orange then, because that's a 9. And that means this is a 9. And that also gets awarded an orange tag. Oh, I'm going to give that 1 an orange tag as well. 1 is in one of those. 1 is in one of those 2 squares. Where does 1 go on this diagonal? It can only go here now. This is lovely. Okay. Now we've tried 1s and 9s. 1 has to be in one of those 2 squares. Look. Let us move on and try 8s then. So look at 8s on this diagonal. Can we do anything? Well, actually, I can rule it out of that. Yes, yes, it's got to go there. This is a sensible thought, because we can see there's a lot of symmetry between the high oranges and the high greens. And oh, this 8's lovely. We get an 8 here, and that means that the 1 has to be there, and the 1 is an orange, which means this becomes an orange 1. I can delete that digit. We've got to put 8 exactly there, and 8 is green, and we can delete this one. How many 8s have we got in the grid now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've done all the 8s. Now let's look at 2s. Hang on, I think I'm going to have to go to numbers and double click. Okay, 2s. Now, 2s on a diagonal, do you think, or 2s? Yes. No. You rotten thing. 2s on this diagonal are very nearly forced. I think they're in one of 2 places, though. What about 2s on that diagonal, then? Can that be a 2? No, I've already got the 2 on the other diagonal. Sorry. Okay, no, we're barking up the wrong tree, I think. There's 2s in one of those cells. Oh dear. I was sure 2s would work, because... Oh no, but we got given a 1, didn't we? That's why we're not able to unwind these 2s. It's because we didn't have a given to help us out. Okay, so we're probably stuck again now. I still feel it's going to be the diagonals that sort of break the symmetry. But quite which cells we need to focus on is anyone's guess. We've got 5 digits on the negative diagonal. So we need 2s, we need 3s, 4s, 6s and 7s. So this square is 3, 4 or 6 by the looks of things. Can't see anything else, and that one is 3, 4 or 7. Well, that was a waste of time. What about the positive diagonal then? How we've got 4 digits on it. We need 2s, 3s, 4s, 6s and 7s. So this square here, that square sees 3, 7 and 2. So that's 4 or 6, I think, in which case it gets awarded the tag of being blue. It would be very interesting to know if it's the same as that, but I don't think we know that. But now, hang on, I've got 2 blues on the positive diagonal, and that effectively means I've got 6 digits now on this diagonal. So I just need 2s, 3s and 7s. We know this square is a 3 or a 7 because it's purple. So these are 2s, 3s and 7s, and that one is not 7. And this one, unfortunately, does seem to be able to be anything. Oh, that was very close to being useful. So this is a 4 or a 6. Sometimes you can do some magic with diagonals. So for example, no, it doesn't work. I can see the 7 is in one of those 2 places on the positive diagonal. So what we could do is look for cells that see both of those positions and argue 7 could not be in either of these 2 squares, but unfortunately we have both of those squares already, so that's not a very good idea. Now, okay, I'm really struggling to see what we do here. Maybe I've just got to try and do Sudoku. 7s are in one of those 2 cells. Oh dear. 3, 7, 3s? Oh yeah, okay. 3 is mildly interesting in box 1, in that it has to be in this domino here, which means it has to be in that domino in box 3. Can I do, actually the other digit I should probably think about a bit harder is 5. How many 5? We've got a few 5s in the grid, but not many. 5 in box 1 here has to be in those 2 cells because of this 5, which is not quite good enough, is it? 5 in box 9 is in one of those 3 cells. No, actually that doesn't look profitable. I think I'm going to abandon that very quickly and think again. So where is the weakness in the puzzle? Is there an obvious place? Perhaps row 8. 3s, 5s, 6s and 7s. So this is 3, 5 or 6. Don't really like that. And this is 3, 5 or 7. Don't really like that. Oh, although that's... Oh, okay. That's weird. Okay, so where does 6 go in row 8? I unfairly maligned row 8. I can get a 6 in it, which means that's not a 6. And that's interesting now, because now I can ask a similar question, I think, about the negative diagonal. Where does 6 go on that? It has to go here only. And that gives us a 6 and a 4, which gives us a 4 and a 6. Now we need this to do a lot of work, so I'm hoping we're not going to just get run out of things to do. No, where does 6 go in box 9 now? I think only here. So both of these 6s get to turn blue. Yeah, this might be useful, you know, because not quite. It's near again. Oh no, it's good. Where does 6 go on the positive diagonal? It's got to go on it somewhere. It can now only go in the corner there, up there. Which means this square's got to be a 6, which means we get to turn that blue. And I probably... Oh, I don't know what I did there. Probably done all the 6s I have. How about my 4s? I've done a few 4s, but not enough. 4 is in one of those 2 cells, which almost is good. What about... okay, I don't know. But that was definitely a big breakthrough, I think. Now we've got 3, 7 here. So these 2 squares have become a 4, 5 pair. The missing digits from the final column, look. What are they? 2 and 4? I think so. I think that's a 2-4 pair left in the column. And unfortunately, we don't know enough about 4s yet to know how that's going to work. So what worked? What worked was thinking about 6 in this row. So maybe there's something we could learn in this row up here. I'm not sure whether it was going to be about 4s or 3s or 7s. Or maybe this column. I'm floundering a bit here because it's very hard to know where to. Oh, good grief! All right, it's actually this row. Look, if you look at this column, you've got a 2, 3, 7s left to place, which makes this square a 2 or a 3. Now look at row 3, and somehow I've got a 2, 3, 4 triple, which means this square here is the only place a 5 can go. Of course, that doesn't do very much down there. I was hoping that was going to be a big breakthrough. Yeah, okay, similar question. Where does 5 go in row 7? Suddenly that's become clear to me. Which places 5 in box 1? Which places 5 and 4, which is far more interesting, in box 2. So that becomes blue. Okay. Those two squares at the top and bottom of column 2 are 4s and 7s. So these are 3s, 4s and 7s over here, with this not being able to be a 4. And we still haven't got enough knowledge about these diagonals to finish them off. I have a feeling there's a Y-wing floating around now. It feels to me like this is the sort of thing. Yeah. That is very cool of me. For once, I am relatively proud. What about those squares? Here. Why is that not a Y-wing? It is, isn't it? If that's a 2, this is a 4. And if this is a 3, that's a 4. So one of those in the finished grid is definitely a 4. And that means that square is a 2. Let me just go through that again. So the way to spot this is I was looking at bent triples. And at the moment I thought of it, it basically shouted at me. These squares are clearly a bent triple. If we had those 3 digits, those 3 cells in the same column or row, we'd instantly say that's a 2, 3, 4 triple. Well, here it's definitely a 2, 3, 4 triple. And the key is to consider the middle square and note that if it's a 2, you get a 4 here. If it's a 3, you get a 4 here. So one of those cells, I'll make them red in the finished grid, one of those red cells is definitely a 4. So this square, which sees both of those cells, cannot be a 4, and therefore it must be a 2. Now that might do something. This gives me a 4 down there. Now look, I've got a 3, 7 pair on this diagonal, so that becomes a 4. This is a 3. 3, 7 means that's a 5. This is a 5 now by Sudoku. So I've got a 3, 7 pair in row 7, which makes this one a 2. That one a 7, that's a 4. So that's a 7 and that's a 2. This is a 3, this is a 4. This is a 3, this is a 7. That should be a 2 just by Sudoku. We need a 3 in that row. 3 and 7 go in here. I hope we haven't got left. I haven't got a deadly pattern, have I? Oh, no, I haven't, because of this positive diagonal. It's got a 7 on it now, and that's differentiating the 3s and 7s in the middle. Place a 7 up there, and that is how to solve the puzzle. Good Lord. That is very clever stuff, isn't it? It really is. Now, I know that people will get cross with me if I don't do my colouring in full, so I will do that now. Look, shouldn't be too difficult. There we go. I think that's finished. We should just be left with 9 uncoloured 5s, and that's what I'm seeing. Yeah, that's a very, very cute puzzle indeed. I really like the start and the way that you could actually deduce quite a lot about the disposition of the various digits that added to 10 around this central box. and thereafter there was more clever stuff. What was it we did after that? Oh yeah, using these palindromes. Yes, it was really the thing I missed that would have made the solve a bit more efficient is the implication of these two digits with their counterpart colours, because that would have got me these coloured palindrome digits much more quickly, and somehow I feel that would have made things smoother. But I loved it. It was it wasn't too difficult today for once, but it was very enjoyable. Let me know in the comments how you got on, and I do enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And thanks for watching. We'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.